Is now in studio, the president of the People's Association of Justice Advocates, Shane Harris. And Shane, we always appreciate you coming in to talk to us.
Happy New Year.
You as well. So your association was one of the only civil rights organizations to support SB 14 when some others didn't support us. Tell us why that was and why you think that this law is a good one.
Well, I was in the foster care system. I spent 13 years in the system, and after losing both of my parents, I saw many of my friends in the system deal with being trafficked, being bought off by pimps, perpetrators with money and other kind of flamboyant kind of stuff that they were giving them. And that was the way that they would get them in the process of becoming trafficked. And so when you look at the FBI statistics that shows you 60% of victims of sex trafficking are foster children, in some of the America's largest cities. It was a study done by the FBI. It was the core reason why I got behind this bill. It is appalling to me that we're one of the few states in America that does not prosecute child sex trafficking as a serious felony. And that it's not a part for repeat offenders of the three-strike statute.
But we will now.
It is now a part of the three-strike statute, where those repeat offenders will be prosecuted under that three-strike statute. And that was the major pointer for me.
You mentioned some other groups had some hesitancy based on maybe some of the victims, then also, like you said, going out there maybe on the orders of the person who's kind of controlling them to kind of get other victims in. What is kind of your feeling on that, the fear that potentially maybe some of these victims might also get in trouble or get charged? Well,
there was a variety of groups that were opposing this bill, including the ACLU of California. And one of the angles that they were saying and making the point of was that it's going to be a tough on crime bill. But I don't see, and the way I looked at it, I don't see how being tough on a crime like this is a bad thing. We need to be tough on crime, especially when it comes to our most vulnerable human beings in society, and that's our children. And so, their argument was that perpetrators of sex trafficking have been victims. And I do know that that is a reality, but at the same time, we have to be cognitive that while perpetrators have been previous victims, some of them, a lot of them, the cycle has to stop somewhere. And this is really that bill and that law now that becomes law today on the books, that if you perpetrate our children and you're a repeat offender over and over and over again, you will pay a penalty for that, and you will possibly pay life sentences start getting handed out for those who keep doing and perpetrating our children.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, and you wonder why would this not be a serious crime to prosecute? Yeah. But then the other argument is maybe it needs to be rewritten. Not that this is a bad idea, but rewrite it so that it doesn't harm, as Kasha said, the victims who ultimately become part of this system. Do you think that it in any way needs to be amended or added to in order to protect people like your friends who ended up in a system that is a bad cycle?
Of course. I mean, bills can always improve, laws can always improve, and I do understand that argument, as I echo. However, at the same time, those who were lured into sex trafficking were lured in with money and these powerful figures in the communities. And what we need to do is we need to put a stop to the cycle. I think this law begins that process. Don't ever throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I saw a lot of assembly members arguing this bill. We had to go back and fight for it to get to the floor because it was gone on suspense in the Assembly Public Safety Committee. And the governor, to his credit, pushed after I made a call to the governor, and there was others who called him, and making the argument that, called the state senator, the Republican who was behind this bill, and said he's going to do everything he can to push for it to get done and get it across the line. It got back to the floor and it passed. And I think that while we understand the concerns that victims become the perpetrators, we should find rehabilitative ways to move those folks out of the perpetrating mode. I think that the three-strike statute kind of gives that process some time, right? You're not automatically going to go to prison for life. But if you continue to do this, at some point, you've got to get the memo. And this is, I think, the beginning of a process to really get that memo very clear. Strike one, you don't get the memo. Strike two, you don't get the memo. Strike three, you're gone. And that's the way we have to see it. If we're talking about protecting our children, the most vulnerable human beings in society, then we have to have a logical, common sense balance to addressing this very big problem in our community. San Diego, by the way, is among the top cities in America when it comes to sex trafficking.
Yeah. As we reported many times before, this obviously you've been out there reporting on it.
Yep.
Excuse me, as well, that this is a problem that we specifically here at the border face. Continued issues. You say that you, from the foster system, see it firsthand, saw it firsthand as a young man. So we appreciate your insight, Shane.
Absolutely.
And thanks for coming to talk to us about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane.